Today I'm going to show you how to find your niche so that you become so bespoke you can charge whatever you want. Hey guys, Ross here, and for those of you who don't know, I own one of the most versatile production companies in the UK. We consistently turn over 6 figures a year in revenue. I employ people in-house, an external sales team, I own a studio, and I'm still in my 20s. And today I'm going to talk to you about a niche. And what I'm going to cover today about niches has really helped us grow our business massively and take those huge steps, because when you find a niche, you can pretty much charge whatever you want because you become so bespoke at that thing. So there are different types of niches, and first of all, we start off with your broad audience. That's just everyone and everything. So how this works is that every time you niche down, you become more bespoke and more specific. It means the demand is less, but the people who do want your services, there's so few of you out there that can do what it is that's in that niche that you actually become so much more valuable to that person. So you have your broad niche, which is pretty much everyone and everything. And then you have micro niche and then your nano niche. And we'll get into that in a little bit more detail shortly. And first I want to tell you what our niche is. And this is what would be classed as a nano niche, because I am only one of 2 people in the world that can go off an 80-foot ski jump with a full production setup. Now, I bet you wasn't expecting that one. So my business gets employed from time to time for these very specific requirements that involves us to be in a snow sports environment and follow other athletes over a jump to achieve truly unique content. We will take a camera rig such as a Red shooting in 8K with a cine lens, a whole gimbal stabilization with wireless remotes and wireless video feeds. So we'll have someone stood next to the jump controlling it remotely, and anything, like I said, up to 80 foot will follow the athlete over, and it requires me to hold the camera rig, keep it still and point it in the air while the remote operator does all the details and then land safely with it. Now, this is because of my background as a professional skier. So I've had years and years of training in hitting jumps, doing big tricks. And then when I found my new passion and career for filmmaking and building a production company, it was this same philosophy about breaking boundaries and providing truly unique content that enabled us to expand and grow, because we could offer something that almost no one else in the world could offer. And that's one of the things that makes us so versatile. Now, your niche doesn't have to be anywhere near as extreme as that, but if anyone has a background in sports or whatever your background is, it's down to you to really sit there and think about it and ask yourself the question, what are you good at? What have you done in your life so far that, really could be something that not many other people have done? I find it really interesting to listen to other people's stories, because everyone has a story, and it's just about asking them to find out what that is. So do that internally, find out yourself what it is that you've achieved in your life so far, and is there any opportunities there within that? Don't be fooled into thinking that because you know something that you assume that everyone else knows it as well. It's a mistake I see made all the time, is people, when they know something, they just assume that everyone else knows it, and it's not the case, okay? So think about what you've done, think about if there's any areas in that, and you can use your pre-existing skills. And like I said, if you haven't been involved in sports or action sports or anything like that, then there are some solutions that we can talk about and how you can find your own nano niche so that you can then just start marketing to a really specific audience and charging what you want, because you will become so valuable in that given area. But one thing you can learn from us is taking that same mindset of not being scared to try something and seeing if it works. All the time people are like, oh my God, what happens to the camera? What happens to this? Firstly, the cameras are insured. Yes, it would be a nightmare, but they're insured, so they're covered, and we pay a premium for that. So we limit our risks. But more importantly, if we don't explore what is possible. Our content is going to look like everyone else's. So I urge you all to think about how you can do things differently, whether you skateboard, rollerblade, whether or not you learn those disciplines, whether or not you go down a completely different side of things, perhaps with race drones and acrobatic drones and mounting cameras to those kind of things, thinking about what can you do that really no one else is doing. And that's hard. It does take a lot of time because ultimately there's not many people in the world that are doing the things that you will want to try and find yourself in that position of doing, because that's when you become very valuable. And this nano niche, by the way, has enabled me to travel the world. It's attracted people like Monster Energy, who have paid for me to go out on location and film for a week for that one specific shot. And I can tell you, when there's not many people in the world that can do that, the price isn't cheap. So this is why it's going to be really beneficial to think about what are your niches when growing your business and your production company. So your broad niche will come almost instantly, but it will take a period of time, often years, to find what your nano niche is. And some of you might want to jump into your nano niche right away. And again, I'm going to explain what the differences are between these in a moment. But don't be fooled into jumping straight into your nano niche, because you need to determine firstly if there is a market there for it. The market for me following people over a ski jump with a camera gear is very small. So those opportunities aren't enough to create a full business around. So you would be stupid to jump into that and just go straight for your nano niche. And that's why it takes a period of years to find out what those niches are and test the water, see if there's an audience there. And your audience dictates a lot of the time what your niche is. We do a lot of work in the veterinary sector, so we have another niche there because it's very bespoke to what we do in that kind of discipline. Now the differences. So your broad niche is something like, we are a film company and we create content online. That is your broad niche. So by saying that statement, it means that you are excluding the fact that you do TV work, you're not doing any other industries, you've determined what industry you're in and specifically where you're working at in that industry. And that's quite broad. That has a wide range of things that your business could fall under and people that can use your services. Like I said, do remember that these things take time to niche down, and also the fact that you will lose clients along the way, but then you become more valuable, so you end up charging more and making more as a result of having less clients overall. So once you've established what your broad niche is, you then need to look at your micro niche and what potentially that could be. So if we take a production company that creates online content, perhaps you're a production company that creates online content for action sports only, or an online production company that creates social media content or website content only. They don't do anything outside of websites. But let's go with the first one. So you are a production company that creates content for the action sports sector. Again, you see how we've done there, what we've done there. We've taken it from a broad all businesses to now we're only dealing with the one industry, which is action sports. And then you know where this is going, into your nano niche. So with our nano niche, and you can have multiple of these, but just to focus on one initially, especially when you're starting out. So your nano niche could then be a production company that provides content for an action sports market, specifically snow sports. And then your USP would be the fact that you can go, or that we can go over jumps up to 80 foot with a full production setup. So those two are kind of interlinked, and you can really break these down much further, but that gives you kind of a nice overview of what your niches are and how you would go about finding them. So take a look and ask yourself the question, what are you passionate about firstly? What is your past experience? Is there anything that you can pull on to then start thinking about your niches? And then you can charge your clients based on how much value you can give them and how many people are doing the same thing as you. And if you're in my case, where there's only a couple of you in the world that can do this, then you are really onto a winning formula. If you found this useful, then make sure you join our Perspective Academy Facebook group and check out our other videos. We have so much content yet to come, so stick around, and I look forward to accepting your request into the group soon.